the Batman teaser. Hey geekers, CK here from Geeks Inherited the Earth, and this is kind of our first video review or breakdown. And yes, just in case you were wondering, we are talking about the 2021 film from Warner Brothers Pictures, directed by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson, Colin Farrell, Zoe Kravitz, Andy Serkis, Paul Dano, and Jeffrey Wright. And I liked it! So the DC Fandome this weekend was a pretty big hit. They came out and were showing a bunch of trailers for games and upcoming films, including some reveals like Black Adam and stuff. But the big hit, obviously, and what everybody was waiting on, was the Batman. And holy rusted metal, did we get it, Bat fans. So I was watching Fandome that night. I think that the trailer dropped at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we were just kind of waiting on it. And Matt Reeves came out and did a panel where basically he just geeked the hell out about Batman for like 15 minutes. Yeah, there were more than a few things that piqued my interest, including a real detective story, Batman Year 2. Basically the Bat and all the people that are involved, like Selena Kyle and stuff in this movie, have costumes that are kind of like their before costumes, since this is Year 2 of Batman, and he's basically working with the cops now. There's some tension going on there, and here we go. The trailer begins with the sound of ripping duct tape as we see what appears to be Paul Dano's Riddler with like ski goggles or a safety mask and rubber gloves, and he's obviously trying to keep DNA out of the crime scene with all this personal protective equipment. And he's duct taping a dude's face. The finishing touches being a written message on the dude's face saying no more lies. And then we cue Something in the Way by Nirvana. Can we talk about the fact that this was the perfect song choice? Next we see and hear Jeffrey Wright's Jim Gordon, and he's explaining the clue that the Riddler left for Batman. And yeah, I'm really digging the vibe. It's got a gritty realism, kind of like Zodiac or Seven. And yeah, I know that like everyone else is saying Seven too, but that doesn't make it untrue. Cut to show Pattinson in the cowl as Batman coming into the crime scene. And this is what I've always wanted. If there's any scene that sold me in this trailer on this movie, it was this one. Because they're finally showing Batman working with Gotham PD like a detective. They always seem to kind of gloss over that in the other films, and it drives me insane. Thematically, this movie seems to get Batman more than a lot of others, because they're using him kind of like Sherlock Holmes, where he's working with the police to solve a case. In this case, a grisly series of serial murders. We hear a bit of Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth, basically telling Bruce that he's become quite a celebrity now. And I really love this next scene. It's always nice to see Bruce Wayne saving people and not just Batman. And I can already tell there's some amazing makeup work going on with this movie, because Pattinson doesn't look exactly like himself. His face is very intricately contoured in a certain way, with his hair being longer to make him look younger, to kind of invoke that Year 2 vibe as well. Then of course we get to see Colin Farrell as Penguin, and once again, incredible makeup work. Colin Farrell disappears into this penguin makeup. I mean, I know that they're saying this thing is 25% done, but for being 25% done, most of it looks pretty awesome. Next we see Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, or Catwoman, and oof. Loving the early costume look with the biker gear and the beanie that's got the eye holes cut out and the little ears. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, the scene that everyone's talking about. If the detective series angle was what sold me on this movie, then this scene was the icing on that beautiful bat cake. This thug walks up and is like, "Who the hell are you supposed to be?" The Batman. And no, I don't know what gang he's from. It's hard to tell in Gotham with anything. They all seem to be painted faces with black eye smiles. It's weird. And Batman's all, "Brain damage it is," and starts beating the guy mercilessly. He breaks his arm and then punches him in the face a bunch of times and then gets him on the ground and triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle. And then we get to hear Robert Pattinson's Bat voice. "I'm vengeance." But yeah, it's way cooler than that. You get a shot of the new Batmobile muscle car, which looks really awesome. Obviously one of the earlier prototypes before Lucius got involved. Kind of reminds me of the hot rods he drove around a lot in the 50s and 60s, those versions of the Batmobiles. And then a grand flourish and a reveal of that beautiful new logo with that red and black color scheme that they love so much for the Batman. Final shot has Bruce removing his mask, and I know it's a tiny thing, but I really appreciate it when the grease paint around his eyes stays there even after they remove the helmet. Always drove me crazy in the other movies when he would remove his cowl and you could see that the grease paint was there, but then it magically wouldn't be. I don't know, small details, but they're meaningful. But a lot of memes come out about it since it all started up. And of course, like it said on the internet, we all do owe Robert Pattinson a big apology. No, I think this movie's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. I really like what they're doing with Paul Dano's Riddler. He's got a real psycho bend to him. That line of, "If you're justice, do not lie." It's got a lot of weight to it, and I'm interested to see where that goes. Okay, so I've talked way too long about a 2-minute teaser. Really looking forward to the movie, and if you want to find out more news or reviews of Batman and other geeky stuff, stay tuned to our channel. Like, comment, subscribe, mash that bell. I'm obviously very good at promoting myself. Here on Geeks Inherited the Earth.
You're part of this too. How am I part of it? You'll see.
Can you imagine if I used the original mask I'd made for it? So shitty.